So sometimes dreams will create specific settings within a school, and that can be a big clue to what the dream is really speaking to. I gave the example of a library just a little bit ago, and then he goes to a bathroom, and the bathroom represents privacy. The library represents the idea of looking for information. So he's in the school, the college where he goes, that he attends, but it puts him specifically in the library setting and then in the bathroom setting because those settings help to tell the story. Well, what happens? Could it mean if the dream shows you in a school gym? Well, now we have a lot of different possibilities that open up. It could be related to, well, let's start with the most obvious ideas or possibilities, such as the gym being the place where we find out, what kind of athlete we are. It's related to exercise. You're in the school gym in a dream, and really what it's speaking to is something related to the need for exercise or the routine of exercise. But also, you find out how you stack up compared to your peers. There's a competition that goes on in the school gym. At least when I went to school, it was, playing dodgeball and stuff like that. There was a brutal competition that happened. We still used the balls that left, welts and bruises on kids, and there was this sort of Lord of the Flies sort of competition that went on, survival of the fittest sort of idea. There was one kid left in the end, who was the one who didn't get hit by the ball. Well, now you have an idea that a dream could pick up on and use to tell a story about the last man or woman standing, who survives the competition. So that's an example. Just because it's a gym doesn't mean that it's necessarily related to physical activities and exercise and physical fitness. It could, but you always want to expand your thinking and pull in some of these related ideas. A sports field, we have some possibilities from a gym that you could pull in because the same sort of activities go on a sports field. But here's one that I found quite often is that the game itself that goes on the sports field or in a like in an arena or something, or a basketball court or volleyball court or something like that, that there is something specific about that the dream is drawing from to help to tell the story. Like I remember a guy who he had a dream that he was a football player in high school. He was a running back. And he had a dream that there he is on the football field and he's a running back and he is handed the ball and he runs for the goal line. He scores the touchdown. Then he goes to jump up and dunk the football over top of the goalposts. This is a celebration antic that players will do when they score a touchdown. Well, as he's approaching the crossbar for the the field goal post, the bar is higher than he can jump. So he's then not able to dunk the ball through the crossbar. Interesting symbolism there, possibilities that are raised by this. Well, this is what we connected it with. In his life, he scores touchdowns, he reaches the goal, but he has such high expectations of himself that he doesn't get that feeling of satisfaction from it. So the dream shows it as the crossbar being too high for him to dunk the ball through. After he dunks the ball through it, presumably then he would be able to celebrate. What the dream is really saying is that because his goals are so high, his expectations of himself are so high, that even when he succeeds at things, he doesn't have that feeling of accomplishment. More ways that sports fields can be used. There are specific things that you can bring in, and look up game in the Dream Interpretation Dictionary to get more ideas about this. I think there might be an entry for sports too. The the specific game could have some kind of symbolism. I found that when I am in my life and I'm really focused on my inner life and I'm trying to make progress in my inner life, that I will dream about it as shooting baskets like basketball. Well, the reason why is because the basketball itself is a circular object and I'm trying to put it within a circle, and which is the basketball hoop. It's a circle within a circle, which is a classic symbol of finding the inner center within you. And that's really what I'm trying to do when I shoot the basketball for the, when I'm shooting it for the hoop, then what I'm really doing is acting out me looking for a center within myself. I found this also with tennis. It's a game that involves back and forth, and it's a round ball. And so sometimes it can show an idea such as I'm going back and forth with myself over something. But it can also mean that I'm trying to find the right place where I can put my energy or focus in order to advance myself as a person. Okay, so let's keep going. The principal's office, and I think I misspelled that. I'm sorry if I did. But the principal's office as a setting, it's a part of a school. In the dream, you are specifically in the principal's office, or you're told to go to the principal's office. Well, doesn't that raise some possibilities? I mean, if you were ever sent to the principal's office as a kid, then you have some specific memories to draw from. It usually means that you're in trouble. That there's some kind of punishment that you could be facing, that you've broken the rules. That's a possibility. But for other kids, or even associations, you don't have to have gone to the principal's office. You could have been the really good kid, who never got in trouble. So now the dream shows you going to the principal's office, and you have this dialogue going on in your mind where you're going, but wait, I'm the good kid. Why am I getting sent to the principal's office? Well, it could just be a scenario that the dream created where you feel like you're being punished for something, or could be punished for something, and you don't deserve it. That's a possibility that's raised by it. A counselor's office. I have an example, and this is a fabulous dream that this guy had. He's 4 years removed from high school in reality, but he dreams that he's back in school, and he's told that he is not going to graduate. He's back in high school. He's not going to graduate. He's in the classroom. The teacher gives the class an assignment, and he starts working on the assignment, but he has questions about it, and he asks the teacher, and the teacher gives him answers, but he doesn't understand the answers. And so he starts looking around at his peers for help, and they're like, you're not gonna graduate, you're not gonna graduate. So now he's feeling really frustrated, and he pulls like this Incredible Hulk scene where he just starts picking up desks and tossing them across the room, and he's in a rage, and he storms out of the classroom. He goes looking for the counselor's office. He gets to the office, and the office is closed. So what does this all mean? Well, we dug into the dream, first noting that he's not in school. He's 4 years removed from high school. And so I started off with, what is your life like right now? What has happened since you left high school? And he said, well, not a lot. I haven't figured out where I'm going in my life or what I'm going to do. But it's important to me that I gain some traction here. I want to go somewhere in my life. I don't want to be stuck in this place anymore. Aha. Okay, now let's start looking at the dream for ways that it's helping to tell this story through symbolism. So we look at the fact that he's given an assignment. What does that mean? Well, in a general sort of way, your assignment when you are in school is to prepare yourself for what comes next in your life. He asks the teacher he asks the teacher questions and doesn't get the answers. So both of these details are connecting together with him. He looked for answers. When he was in school and when he got out of school, he looked for that place in life where he belonged. He looked for that field of work that he could go into. And he asked questions of his teachers and his counselors and his peers, and he didn't get the answers that he was looking for. Nothing resonated with him personally. So that's why he's been stuck in his life. He hasn't found the place where he belongs. Okay, so what does it mean then when his peers mock him? Well, it's expressing his feelings that he's falling behind. He has watched people that he went to school with as they have moved on and gone to the places in their lives where he wants to be in his life. So it's really expressing that feeling that he's behind. And then what is it? Look at his reaction in the dream. He picks up desks and he starts throwing them across the room. It's an expression of the fact that he feels very strongly about the possibility that another 4 years could pass and he could find himself in the same place in his life. Except now it's going to be even more difficult for him to gain traction in his life and start moving forward with it. What does it mean then that he seeks out the counselor's office? This is a very important detail because he reacts that way in the dream. He thinks, I need to go to the counselor's office after tossing these desks all over the place. There's a reason why. Remember, he subconsciously knows what everything in the dream means. As he is dreaming it, he subconsciously knows what it means. So when he reacts by seeking out the counselor's office, what he's really doing is saying, I need help figuring this out. I need to find the right person who can help me to sort all this out and figure out where I'm going, to point me in the right direction. So then what does it mean that the counselor's office is closed? It means that he hasn't found the help that he's looking for. I helped him with this dream. He had come to the Reddit Dreams forum where I'm the moderator, Radow. And he's one among thousands of people that I've interacted with there and helped them understand specific dreams that they've had or dreams in general. And about 6 months went by after we'd had this interaction, and I got a message from him. He said, hey, thanks a lot for ruining my life. I thought about the dream and everything that was brought up during the interpretation of it. And I started really looking around for, the place, how I can move forward with my life. And I decided that I would join the Navy. And I've just gotten through school. I'm on my first assignment. He went to the targeting school. He was working on a big old Navy ship, and he had learned how to target the guns and the missiles and all that. He was running these really complex, high-tech, systems on the ship. And he said that he was happier than he'd ever been in his life. So when he said, thanks for ruining my life, it was kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing, It's one of those things, though, where just by helping him to understand the dream, I helped him to gain traction in his life. And this is one of the reasons why I help people interpret their dreams, because it gives us a base to work from to understand what's really going on in a person's life. And sometimes with a good interpretation and analysis of a dream, working through it all, it can really help the person to make big decisions in their life and to get to the places where they want to be. Okay, so one last possibility for parts of a school. It's not necessarily a specific part of a school. It's a way to think about what it could symbolize. A school is a structure like a building. You can look up building and construction in the Dream Interpretation Dictionary. There are entries that you can look up to go further with the possibilities for symbolism, but I'll give you two possibilities. School is a structure. You also have thought structures, and you have structure that you bring to your life. I just thought of another one, a belief structure. In school, we are given these structures that we work within. A lot of those structures are actually teaching you ways to think and approach things. So if you dream about being in school, you could actually be thinking about the sort of mental structures that are built up in you through your experience of being in school. I mean, school is what teaches us in part to respond to external authorities. It's really preparing you in some ways for entering into the larger authority structures that we find ourselves in as adults. Those authority structures could be very specific, related to, the authority structure at work, or in the case of the guy with the counselor's office, he's in the military. There's a very well-defined authority structure there, right? Well, you learn how to work within authority structures as you grow up and go through school. So that is the type of structure that a dream can show as a building or as a school, but it's a physical representation of the thought or belief structures that are inside of you. Okay, we're getting near the end here, and I want to remind you of something, is you can apply the D3 interpretation system to interpreting a dream, such as when you dream about being back in school, or there is something that is related to school. This 1, 2, 3 system here applies to any dream that you interpret. Begin by breaking down the dream into story elements and narrative components. I've shown you how to do that already. The school is a setting. That means it's a story element. There are characters who are part of the story with you. They could be classmates, principals, teachers. Those are the dream characters. And then there are also symbols that could be present in the dream. Then there are narrative components, which are the actions that happen. Actions such as when the guy picks up the desk and throws it across the room. And then he goes and seeks out the counselor's office. He is acting out the symbolism of the dream. When he reacts by seeking out the counselor's office, he's reacting from subconscious knowledge of what's missing right now in his preparation for his adult life. He needs the advice of a good counselor. So that's why he reacts by seeking out the counselor's office. Reaction is a narrative component. Then there is resolution. And in this case, the resolution of the dream was found by understanding it and reflecting and saying, well, what is this dream really saying here? It's saying, I need to figure out where I'm going in my life. Then he found his own resolution. Sometimes resolution is found in the dream story itself, but in this case, it was found afterwards. The action, reaction, and resolution are the narrative components. The settings, characters, and symbols are the story elements. So you begin when you are interpreting a dream by breaking down the dream story into the elements and components, and then you interpret and analyze the symbolism of those elements and components and look at the story. What is the story in the dream really saying? And then in the third step, you pull it all together. You now have ideas about the symbolism of these elements and components. You have ideas about what the story, how it's all coming together into a story. So you connect the dots, and you do that in context. The context is provided by the story itself. The dream story provides the context to understand all the details, and your life provides the context for understanding the dream. And the guy going to the counselor's office and tossing desks, the context of his life is that he's not going anywhere in his life, and he's getting really frustrated by it. He's been seeking the answers that he needs, but he hasn't been finding them. The dream pulls this all together and turns it into a story. The way we understand that story is by understanding the context of his life. And then finally, you reflect. After you pull all this stuff together, you work through the 3 steps, you reflect on your life, and you start making connections between your life and the dream story. So I want to give you have a copy of the Dream Interpretation Dictionary. If you are encountering this video in the wild, you can look up the Dream Interpretation Dictionary, and you can find it at retailers. I do have a digital edition of it available for Dream School students. That's a free download for them. And if you are a Dream School student, then you already know where to find the book. So now I'm going to give you these entries to look up in the Dream Interpretation Dictionary so that you can go further to understand this dream theme of being back in school and all of the details that could be brought together related to school, such as books and tests. Well, teenager, if you're in high school, you're a teenager, look up that entry. It can give you some pretty interesting ideas for how dreams could go off into unexpected directions, simply based on the fact that it's projecting you into the past if you are not a teenager anymore, and it shows you as a teenager or among teenagers. There could be some teenager kind of issue that's going on or situation that's going on in your life, and that's why the dream chooses to tell the story the way that it does. So look up these other entries in the Dream Interpretation Dictionary. They'll really help you to expand on this lesson. And finally, I have dreamschool.net. There are resources there, and the courses that you could take. The master course is called Dream Interpretation, the Art and Science. I teach you that there's this sort of intuitive working through your hunches and feelings side of it. That's the art of it. But there are also there's a science side of it that involves these clinical methods, such as making associations, that are part of what I teach. I teach both of them, and we pull it together into that course, the Art and Science of Dream Interpretation. I have a course on dream characters, a course on dream symbolism, and a free intro to dream interpretation and analysis. Those can all be found at dreamschool.net, which is also at dreamschool.teachable.com. There's my We Love Dreams newsletter. I encourage you to sign up for it. You can go to dreams123.net/newsletter to get there directly, or use your favorite search engine, put in We Love Dreams newsletter, and it'll take you to the sign up page. I have a website that teaches my D3 system of dream interpretation. It's called dreams123.com. There is an entire course book worth of material there, so please utilize it. I have kept a dream. It started off as a blog about dreams, and it really expanded into a master site that I use for everything related to my teachings, my classes, etc. That's found at dreams123.net. And if you want to know more about me, go to jmdebord.com. Okay, deep breath. Boy, we've covered a lot of material here. I hope that you found it to be a very interesting lesson, that it will give you insights into your dreams about being in school or school-related subjects, and that this has been really informative and interesting for you. So thank you for joining me. I am J.M. DeBoard. This is Dream School, and I'll see you for the next lesson.